Good morning, it is 10:15 a.m. and I am taking part in Jade's raedathon, which is a 24-hour readathon. She did one a couple of months ago that I vlogged. It was one of my first vlogs. I shall pop it up here. So I'm taking part again because why not? It was fun. And, you know, I like to try and make myself read as much as possible and end up not reading very much at all. I like a good challenge. So I will be taking you along with me in vlogging for 24 hours. I did start reading at midnight last night. However, I only read for like half an hour and then online shopped for half an hour. But I bought like 4 different independent shops orders, so that's exciting. So I've got some posts coming in the mail, which is exciting. But what I shall be reading for this 24-hour readathon, or attempting to read for this 24-hour readathon, is the rest of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I should be able to do if I actually try. This is very much a book where you have a cliffhanger at the end of each chapter, so it is quite easy to keep reading. However, it looks kind of gloomy outside, which is sad because my favourite reading weather is when I can sit outside in the sun. Although I guess this means I won't get distracted as easily because I'll just have nothing to do but sit and read because it'll be raining, so I might be able to get to a good chunk of this today. I do need to finish it really because I'm just terrified of spoilers. I got spoiled on Instagram for part of it. Somebody messaged me what happened, so I want to read more before anyone else has the opportunity to do that. I'm also going to try and get to Screaming Wings, which is a poetry collection by Gemma. This is on my Shelf Help Readathon TBR, which is happening for the next week and the week prior to this. I've kind of diverted from the TBR with this a bit, but I figured this would be quite a nice easy read to actually say I definitely accomplished finishing one book because it is a poetry collection. So I will be reading this one, I will, determined. So these are the 2 books that I'm going to be reading today. I'm going to go get some breakfast and I shall update you later. Hello, I am doing an update. I have not done this vlog very well so far, but from now onwards, we'll do better because it's nearly 3 and I don't know where the day has gone. Honestly, I got up, I read, I had breakfast and read, then I went to Marks and Spencer's to do a food shop, then I got back, had lunch, and then I did a couple of bits of edits for a vlog and took a couple of Instagram photos. Now it's 3, so I don't really know what's happened. I am sitting and reading now. I've just reached part 3 of what's happening in the Hunger Games, or in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's not the Hunger Games anymore. And yeah, it's a slow progression, this book. I definitely think it's taken a lot of different twists and turns. A lot has happened, but it still seems slow. Like there's a lot of beefy description. It's difficult to describe. It's not like it's heavy in its description. It's just there's a lot of description and I want more dialogue. It's a lot of Snow's thought process and getting to know him as a character, which is what this is about, of course, but it really does go into a lot of like, does that make any sort of sense? I'm enjoying it. I just wish it was a little bit more fast-paced with the action. I want more of the action that we expect from the Hunger Games books, I suppose, but this isn't one of the Hunger Games books in the same way that we're used to the other trilogy being, so it's, yeah, I've got to expect different things, I suppose, but I am enjoying it. I'm going to read a little bit more now and see how far through I can get. I'm currently on page 333, so I don't know how many pages are in the entire book. I think it's around 500. I can try and look without seeing the end. Yeah, around 500, so I've got 170 pages left, which should be doable by the end of today if I literally just sit and focus on this. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Maybe. Also want to get to reading Screaming Wings, so I can definitely say I actually finished a book, so I might read another chapter of this and then read Screaming Wings and then switch back to this again. So fingers crossed I can actually manage to do all of this, because the last time I did the raedathon I wanted to finish the flat share in one day and it didn't happen, but I did nearly finish it, maybe. So I will either finish this book today or tomorrow, but I would definitely finish Screaming Wings. So like, yeah, it won't be an entire fail. I'm really bad at these kind of things. I actually forgot this was happening until yesterday, and if I'd have remembered, I think I would have set myself a different type of book to read, but given that I'm already in the middle of this one, I'm not one for reading too many books at the same time, so probably should have thought this through better, really. Right, I'm going to give this a go now. I've just been sitting down for a little bit reading the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I want to know that I've definitely finished a book for the readathon, so I'm going to read Screaming Wings by Gemma. It is so windy outside. You can't really tell right now because obviously the second I hit record, it's not quite as aggressive wind, but I promise it was really, really windy to the point where all the windows in our house have been blown shut. So yeah, that's accompanying my poetry reading. Wanted to share one of the poems with you from this book because I really like this one and I think it sounds really nice when you say it out loud as well. The crescent moon hangs high in the navy sky, hugging the stars as they shoot on by. I just think that sounds lovely, and that one's called Transient. Cool, we're getting deep now. So this one says, some call being alone loneliness, others call it self-love. Me, myself, and I. And I like this because, yeah, actually, when I got broken up with, like, over a year ago now, and I just suddenly felt really lonely, and everyone had someone. And obviously there are still moments where I think about it like that, but ultimately, yeah, it is the time to love yourself and to enjoy your own company and know what you like without someone else in a relationship. So I very much like that poem as well. Okay, I finished a book for the readathon. It happened. I finished this very thick fantasy book. It's a thin poetry book, I'm not gonna lie, guys, but it was fantastic. I really liked this. It was split into 3 different seasons and it ended in summer, and I found that the summer season was my favourite because it was all talking about healing yourself and making yourself feel happier and being the person that you could rely on for your own happiness. It also spoke about the idea of the only thing that's stopping you doing things is yourself, and if you believe you can do something, you can do it, which I really liked, and the idea of, yeah, making your own happiness and not having to rely on people, and once you accept that you can make your own happiness, then it happens. And I really liked that. It was a really nice little poetry book. So 1 book down, let's read the other one. Do you know what? I think I might actually be able to finish this. I've got this much left and that's only like 80 pages, 90 pages. I think it might be doable. It's 5:30, so there's still quite a lot of the day left. And other than going for a walk, I don't really have anything else on. Eating dinner, that sort of thing. But I think I might be able to do it, guys. It might actually happen. I might finish 2 books for this readathon. I finished it. I did it. I completed 2 books in Jade's readathon, 24-hour reading. I actually completed what I wanted to complete. Job done. Box ticked. I'm going to talk to you about what I thought a little bit of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. What I thought I would do is fill out my core pile ratings with you guys, because then you can see how I'm rating it and what I thought of it. If you don't know, Core Pile is created by G from Book Roast, and it is basically a rating system in which you look at different aspects of the book and it gives you an overall rating to help you pick your star rating. So I've got it open on my iPad, so I shall run through it with you guys now. So the first thing we're looking at is characters, and we can rate this out of 10. So for characters for this one, obviously this is looking at Snow as a character and it's following him in his late teen, young adult years, and as he becomes the man we know him to be in the Hunger Games. And I think that they created quite a convincing character in him. I know that a lot of people, myself included, thought that this would very much be a redemption arc for him almost, and make us not really hate him as much as we should do, and therefore be confused about the feelings that we have of him in the current, the Hunger Games trilogy. And you know what? I don't think it did that for me. I think I still see why he is the villainous role. I say villainous because he's a different type of villain. Yeah, he's the antagonist in the story, and I can see why he's the antagonist in the story. So I think Suzanne Collins wrote him very well, and it was very cleverly done. I didn't like him as a character, but that doesn't mean he wasn't written well. So I think in terms of writing characters, and because of the range of different characters we had from all the different mentors, I'm probably going to give this book an 8. Atmosphere-wise, I think I'm going to go lower on this one because I felt like I didn't get enough within the games to get the atmosphere going, and that is what is appealing for me for these books, is that the atmosphere of the games is exciting and it's raw, and it is the feeling of this dystopian world is all centered around these games. And for me, there wasn't enough of that in there, therefore the atmosphere didn't quite capture me in the same way. However, it was still a pretty decent done atmosphere, and it was a different type of atmosphere to what I was expecting, but it was still very bleak, and she did a successful job there of creating the dystopian world. It just wasn't quite what I remembered from the Hunger Games books. It doesn't have to be the same, but I think I'm going to go with a 7 for atmosphere, so not drastically low. Then the writing itself, so Suzanne Collins' writing. Honestly, I felt like the chapters were probably a bit long, and the description versus the dialogue could have definitely been shrunk a little bit. I would have preferred more dialogue. So for me, I don't think the writing was superbly done in terms of captivating me. However, what it did do well was integrate themes from the previous book series into this one, make notes and nods to things like the hanging tree song, which was definitely my favourite bit. That was mentioned several times in the book and I really enjoyed that. So I'm probably going to give the writing a 7 as well. Plot. I think this is where it's going to score lower because that plot was just all over the place. If I were to define what it was about, I would say it's about Snow's rise to power and his rise to becoming the man, the antagonist that we know him to be in the Hunger Games series. However, it took a very long time getting there and it took you around many corners, and I don't necessarily think it was not that it wasn't easy to follow, because it was easy to follow, it just wasn't really very succinct in terms of how it got the point across, and it almost dotted around how it wanted you to feel too much. I like a book that makes me question what I'm thinking, but this one felt it was a bit all over the place. I don't know if anyone else agrees or if I'm even making any sense, but for that I'm going to give it a 6 for plot. Intrigue, I was definitely intrigued the whole way through, I will say, because I wanted to know about the Hunger Games. I was waiting and waiting and waiting for that to start, and I also wanted to know what it was that made Snow become the antagonist we know him to be. So I definitely say there was decent intrigue, and I'm going to give it an 8 for intrigue because it did good. Logic. I always find this tricky because obviously we're talking about a world in which children are sent to their deaths yearly, which isn't the most logical. However, I actually think the logic in this was very clever in the way it plays into the book series that we know, in the way that we see the Hunger Games today was shaped by how Snow did the Hunger Games and how he contributed to ideas. So in that sense, I think the logic was actually really clever. In terms of some of the decisions and the journeys made, I don't think it was as good. However, I'm giving the logic an 8 because I think it was done well. And then we get to enjoyment, and honestly, I don't know how much I enjoyed this book. It's one of those reads where when I was reading it, I was enjoying it, but I wasn't really thinking about it when I wasn't reading it, and I wasn't thinking, oh, I really want to sit down and read it. I had to make myself sit down and pick it up. Do you know what I mean? Like some books you think about when you're not reading them and you really want to pick them up. This one wasn't so much like that for me, so I don't necessarily know if I actually really loved it. I think I liked it as an extra novel to the Hunger Games, and I liked finding out the backstory to why things are the way they are. However, enjoyment factor I wouldn't score as highly, so I'm probably gonna give it a 6, which actually brings this out as a total on core pile out of 10, 7.14, and as a star rating it brings it out as a 4-star, which surprises me because I didn't think I would rate it that high. I probably would give it a 3.5 star, so that's interesting. I feel like I'm going to look back over what I did now, but just to reiterate, I gave character 8, atmosphere 7, writing 7, plot 6, intrigue 8, logic 8, and enjoyment 6. That's my rating for the Hunger Games novel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which I finished today for the 24-hour raedathon. Woo! I also finished the Screaming Wings poetry books by Gemma Marie today, so I finished 2 books. I am pleased with my progress. Thank you, Jade, so much for hosting this readathon. There is still like an hour left of it, but I don't want to force myself to try and finish any tiny little books I may have. I did vaguely think about reading Greta Thunberg's little collection of speeches, but I thought, no, not pushing it. I'm just gonna maybe run a bath and watch some Disney Plus whilst I'm in the bath, which sounds pretty good to me, although I also need to get this video edited because I would like it live by Sunday, which is hopefully when it'll be live by and when you'll be watching it. So thank you very much if you have joined me on this 24-hour reading experience. Sorry I didn't vlog too much of it, but I didn't really start reading until the afternoon, at which point I did vlog. So I hope you enjoyed the footage that you did see, and if you enjoyed that way of me reviewing that whilst talking to you guys, let me know, because I can do it again when I finish books in future vlogs. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what I'm talking about, you can give this video a thumbs up. You can comment down below what you thought of this book or what you thought of me reading, whether you thought I was slacking. And as usual, you can subscribe to see more of my videos. I will have another weekly vlog going up on Wednesday of me reading this whole book experience. So that will be the previous week. This is just a one-day vlog. So thank you very much for watching. Keep smiling and stay positive.